over to Justine Roberts from Mumsnet.
Okay, well, I'm afraid I don't know about newspapers or politics, so I'm going to talk about Mumsnet, which I do know a bit about. So it's been called the Mumsnet Election, and I think there is some evidence. I mean, it did feel a bit surreal when that sort of got tweeted all over the world for us. But let me just tell you why I think the Times, who it was who first labelled it that, I think they labelled it that. First of all, we've been courted assiduously by the party leaders. We've had all three on for web chats over the last 3 months. Actually, David Cameron had been on twice before, so he was probably first in that loop. And both the major parties have run ad campaigns on Mumsnet about a specific issue, only on Mumsnet, designed for Mumsnetters to read. First of all, Labour told our members that the Tories would pinch their tax credits, and then the Tories rebutted that by saying that's all nonsense, it's Labour spin. So we had these lovely little ads that were up for a bit from both of them. And there are a number of, they're queuing up to come on, if I'm honest. I don't know quite why. Every time anyone comes on, it's reported in the press that they've been skewered in some way or other by the Harroden mums of Mumsnet, which is not always entirely true, I have to say. But they still seem to think of it as a kind of rite of passage. And they're keen to come on. Of the 10 or so major politicians we've had on Mumsnet in the last 12 months, we've only actually invited 2. The other 8 have invited themselves. So why Mumsnet? Why has it been called the Mumsnet Election? What is it about Mumsnet that is totemic? I mean, we're not pretending that, you know, we actually hold the key to the result here. 1 million voters will not actually make the difference. But nevertheless, why has Mumsnet been selected as totemic? Well, number one, we're quite female. We're 95% female. And there is some research, I think, that all the parties have done that says that Blair, who mostly got the female vote last time, Brown's not as popular as women. So it's an opportunity for the Tories, and for Labour it's a risk. So they need to, hence, you know, lots of tears on lots of Piers Morgan-type television programmes, I think. Secondly, we are large. We have 20 million page impressions a month, a million uniques. So obviously, if you come and talk to Mumsnet, you are talking to a lot of people. So I think politicians' performance in their web chats does actually make a difference with some voters. So, you know, that's a good reason to engage. And thirdly, and importantly, I think this is the first social media election in this country, really. If you think about 2004, Facebook was only just founded, and, you know, we were still, a lot of us, on dial-up. But now, you know, social media, as Alan has eloquently said, is as important, I think, as traditional media. And I think politicians can get their heads around Mumsnet. They think of Mumsnet as something cohesive. Oh yes, they're all women who, you know, who want to hear about how family friendly I am. It's a bit different from going on to Twitter. You wouldn't know if you went on to Twitter, if you were the Tories, whether, you know, how many fox hunters were there or how many animal lovers. You'd get all confused. But Mumsnet, they have an idea that it's this cohesive place where they can understand themselves and not, crucially, make an embarrassment of themselves like Gordon Brown on YouTube. Although, you know, obviously it's possible to embarrass yourself on Mumsnet as well. Finally, I mean, we do have lots of journalists on Mumsnet, so I think they also know that if you say something on Mumsnet, it will get reported for better or for worse. So I thought then I'd talk a little bit about whether actually that translates to any power. The fact that we've had these politicians on, does that mean online communities are powerful? Is there any evidence to suggest that there's a Mumsnet block vote, or could be a Mumsnet block vote? First of all, I do know that government officials have been told, as part of their sort of general duties, that they're supposed to watch Mumsnet quite carefully to see what's going on. So there's a certain power in sort of agenda setting, I think. I think all social networks are being watched now. The Bubble, I don't know if you saw that programme, The Bubble, they did a spoof story that Mumsnet was being infiltrated by, you know, by underground politicians and people from parties, and actually it's so not that far from the truth, because the BNP did send a whole load of people on doing it. But anyway, in The Bubble it was a false story. What else have we done? Well, we noticed that when Mumsnet has objected very vociferously to childcare vouchers, and it was reported in the press, Gordon Brown did a U-turn quite quickly on that particular policy to remove childcare vouchers. Tomorrow we're in the Department of Health to talk about a code of practice that has organically grown up from Mumsnetters about improving the way women are treated during miscarriage. So we are, you know, in specific areas, I think online communities do have power. We're not in a political realm, but elsewhere. We recently got an ad campaign pulled called Korean Women Make Bad Mothers. This was on billboards all over buses. And it was very much a grassroots, organic Mumsnet campaign. The members sort of did pro forma letters that people could print out. They found out who the ad agency's major clients were. They contacted all the clients. And the campaign was pulled. You know, obviously, I think it would have been anyway by the Advertising Standards Authority, but we didn't have to wait the month for it. But none of that, I think, translates into a block vote. When we've surveyed our members, their political alignment is roughly split pretty evenly between the three major parties, with the don't knows being, you know, equally weighted. We are not aligned, and centrally we very much make it our mission not to align ourselves to any party. We think our personal political views are irrelevant. We are a mouthpiece and a voice for our community. The idea that Mumsnetters would vote in a block way like a union is such, I can't tell you how wrong that is. Mumsnet is like an octopus, you know, with premenstrual tension. There is no way you could wrestle it into, you know, one voting booth to vote one way. And it is also, I think, you know, anti what the internet is about. It's about individual empowerment. And I just don't think, you know, anyone is going to tell a group of, you know, feisty mums that, OK, we're all doing this, girls. But I do think there is power in communities when it comes to individual organic issues. We see it in sites like 38 Degrees. I think this is going to become more and more a feature. And of course, we do have power over the very all-important question about politicians' biscuit preference. So let's not forget that. Thank you.